Ready to rock that clothing development manager interview? We're diving deep into how to make your mark and wow those hiring managers.
We'll break down what they're really looking for, give you the inside scoop to really showcase your skills. Kind of like your cheat sheet for interview success.
Love that. All right, before we get into the hot seat, let's set the scene. What exactly does a clothing development manager do, and why is this role like the heart and soul of the fashion industry?
It's where like creativity and strategy collide. You're the one who takes a garment from idea to reality, juggling design, development, sourcing, its timelines, budgets, you name it.
Sounds pretty intense. Our research from RoleCatcher actually shows a projected job growth of 6% for clothing development managers. That's a lot of competition. So what makes a candidate stand out?
You got to show you get the industry inside and out. Think past just loving fashion. You need to demonstrate you can spot trends, think strategically about sourcing, and navigate that whole production process like a pro.
It's understanding the business behind the runway, right?
Exactly. And that's what will help you get across in your interview. Let's dive into some common questions.
Let's imagine you're face-to-face with the hiring manager, and they hit you with, walk me through your experience in clothing development. How do you tackle that?
It's your time to shine. Tell your career story, highlighting your standout skills and wins. Don't just list your past roles. Think about those projects that scream clothing development manager. Did you streamline production? Successfully launch a new line?
So instead of, I managed a team, it's, I led a team that launched a sustainable athleisure line.
Yes. And be ready for follow-up questions like, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? That's where you flaunt those problem-solving skills.
Preparation is key. Speaking of key, let's talk trends. The fashion industry changes constantly. How do you answer? How do you stay up to date with trends and innovations?
This is proving you're plugged in. Mention specific publications, trade journals, fashion forecasting websites, even social media where you're following designers.
So instead of, I read fashion magazines, it's, I subscribe to Women's Wear Daily to stay on top of fabric trends and consumer behavior. Something like that.
Exactly. Be ready to chat about a recent innovation that excites you. Maybe it's a sustainable fabric, 3D printing tech. Show you're thinking ahead.
Showing you're not just following trends, but ahead of them. Now, sourcing materials, that's huge for a clothing development manager.
Yeah.
How do you approach sourcing materials for clothing development?
This is testing your strategic sourcing. It's more than just the cheapest fabric. You've got to factor in ethical sourcing, sustainability, quality, lead times. It's a balancing act.
That's where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer. It digs into the job description and gives you tailored tips for your answer.
Right. It might suggest you highlight your go-to sourcing platforms or your understanding of those global supply chains.
It's about showing that depth, right?
Absolutely. And don't be surprised if they throw a curveball like, tell me about a time you had to find a new material because of an unexpected problem. How did you handle it?
Agility and problem solving on the spot. Now let's talk timelines and budgets. Always a thrill for a clothing development manager. How do you manage timelines and budgets on these projects?
That's where you show off your organizational skills and how you think strategically. Share a story that illustrates your process. Like, did you find a bottleneck in the production and fix it to get things back on track? Or maybe you negotiated a better price with a supplier to stay under budget.
Real-world examples are gold. Instead of, I'm a deadline ninja, it's, when a fabric shortage threatened to derail a product launch, I found a similar material from a local supplier, and we met the deadline without blowing the budget.
There you go. That shows initiative, resourcefulness, commitment.
Exactly. Now, let's say they want to dig deeper into your problem solving, like how do you prioritize with competing deadlines or when things go sideways?
It's your time to show you can handle pressure. You can talk about how you prioritize. Maybe you use project management software or have a super detailed timeline or just really get the project's critical path.
RoleCatcher's AI can be a lifesaver here. It looks at your answers to these kinds of questions and gives you feedback to make sure you're showing your strengths.
Totally. It might suggest using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result, to make those answers pop.
It's like having an interview coach on call.
Ugh.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. The interviewer asks, what are your salary expectations? How do you approach that one?
Research, my friend. Research. Before you even step into the interview, look at industry benchmarks, for similar roles in your area. Websites like Glassdoor or Salary.com are your best friends.
Be realistic, but know your worth.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to negotiate if their first offer is lower than you expect, but always have a reason ready.
Have that range in your back pocket and be confident. Now we're nearing the end and they ask, do you have any questions for me? What are some smart questions you can ask that show you're engaged and leave a good impression?
This is where you show you've been paying attention.
It's your turn.
Yeah, asking insightful questions shows that curiosity and you taking initiative. Don't focus on the benefits or vacation time just yet. Ask questions about the role and the company.
For example,
You could ask, what are the biggest challenges the company's facing with sustainable sourcing? Or what are the growth opportunities within the clothing development team?
now you're talking. Those show you've done your research and you're invested in the company's success.
Exactly. You're going beyond just getting the job and showing you get the bigger picture.
And don't forget that thank you note.
So crucial. A well-written thank you within 24 hours shows you're professional and interested. It's a small thing that makes a big difference.
It really does. So we covered a lot. Those tough interview questions, how to present your skills, and even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you an edge.
And remember, confidence is key. Bring your passion for fashion, all your expertise, and get ready to impress.
You've got this. This is just the start of your clothing development manager journey. It's a field that's always changing, full of chances to learn and grow.
So stay curious, never stop being creative, and keep learning.
And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive into conquering your interview. Until next time, stay stylish. It's about showing you're not just there for the paycheck.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And remember, the interview doesn't really end until you walk out that door. Reiterate your enthusiasm for the role, for the company, leave them with a good feeling.
And that all-important thank you note.
Oh, absolutely. Within 24 hours, a well-written thank you goes such a long way in cementing that positive impression.
Shows you're on top of it. So there you have it, folks. We dug into those tough interview questions, reveal how to make your skills shine, and even how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a boost.
Don't forget, confidence is your best accessory. Bring that passion for fashion, all your knowledge, and rock that interview.
You got this. And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey as a clothing development manager. It's an exciting field, always evolving, always new things to learn.
So stay curious, stay creative, and never stop learning.
Couldn't agree more. And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive into acing your clothing development manager interview. Until next time, stay stylish.